What if I told you I'm about to reveal and rank 20 movies and shows, mostly movies, that are wildly creative, entertaining, and sometimes completely off the rails? But the real question is, which ones of these have you missed? Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, where we love to geek out about all things fantasy, science fiction, horror, and nerdiness in general. I'm Jim, your host for today's ride. If you enjoy this sort of content, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you won't miss out on any of our future videos. And a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. You really help keep this channel going. If you'd like to join them and get access to exclusive perks and bonus content, check out the link down in the episode description. We'd love to see you there. So, what am I doing today? I've pulled together 20 selections, 18 movies, 2 TV series that span the realms of science fiction, horror, and fantasy, all released since the year 2000. This is all content that I've personally watched in recent months and enjoyed for a variety of reasons, though not equally. I've ranked them from okay to awesome sauce. Now, here's the thing. Every single one of these is worthwhile entertainment for the right audience at the right time. And that right audience could include you. And if anyone out there, honestly, can say they've enjoyed all 20 of these, your tastes are disturbingly similar to mine. We may need to talk. Let's dive in. For each, I'll share the release year, the genre, a super short spoiler-lite summary, and why I enjoyed it. And remember, the higher the rank, the better the ride. Number 20 on this list is Spiders, which came out in 2000. This is horror and a creature feature flick. A lab experiment gone wrong unleashes giant mutant spiders on Los Angeles. A journalist and his cameraman become unlikely heroes. The best qualities of this film, it's got classic B movie fun, over the top creature effects, and a nostalgic early 2000s campiness. However, it definitely has cheap effects and cheesy acting, dropping it down to number 20 on my list. Number 19 actually shares some similarities to that last one, and this is Lavalantula from 2015. This is also horror, but now it's a comedy. Lava spewing giant tarantulas erupt from California. Why is it always California? From California volcanoes. A washed up action star fights back with ridiculous flair. This movie has such an absurd premise, and it embraces it for all the fun that brings. It's filled with cameos from cult favorite actors, including the lead actor being Steve Guttenberg. Some of you remember him for sure. Honestly, this is a perfect party watch film. You'll just laugh along. Of course, it's disliked by some people because it is purely silly, and the CGI, pretty low budget. I mean, come on. 2015? Number 18 on my list is Salem's Lot, the 2024 version. This is a horror adaptation of Stephen King's book, where a writer returns to his hometown only to discover vampires have taken root. It's a new adaptation of a King classic. Its best qualities include the modern Gothic atmosphere, the chilling suspense, instead of doing jump scares, those are cheap and easy. And it's got some really faithful callbacks to the source material. I always appreciate that. However, it does lack the slow burn dread of the novel. You just can't get it perfect with an adaptation. Number 17, Cell, 2016 flick. This is sci-fi horror. A strange signal through cell phones turns humanity into violent killers. Survivors band together to seek answers and safety. Another Stephen King adaptation. The best qualities of this movie include its eerie, technology gone wrong premise, some big name actors in another Stephen King adaptation, and the apocalyptic tension that runs all the way through the movie. I particularly appreciated the ending. However, some people dislike it because the plot feels disjointed and the execution of the film is perhaps a little uneven. Number 16, The Mummy, the 2017 version. This is fantasy adventure and a horror film. An ancient princess is unearthed and unleashed in modern day London. Chaos ensues as Tom Cruise tries to save the world. The best qualities of this film include it being a high budget spectacle. They spared no expense, they threw tons of money at this film. It also had an imaginative monster design. I mean, she was pretty cool. And it was an ambitious attempt at a shared monster universe. We were going to get something special here. Unfortunately, the story was kind of a mess, and therefore it failed in setting up this dark universe. They had multiple monster movies lined up, and this kind of killed them all. Still, I didn't entirely hate the movie, so number 16. Number 15, Marvel's Secret Invasion, 2023 TV series, still available on Disney Plus. This is science fiction, superhero thriller mystery. Nick Fury uncovers a covert Skrull invasion of Earth, testing alliances and trust. It's a slow burn political thriller with superpowered twists. The best qualities? Well, Samuel L. Jackson is back in this movie. His gravitas is always appreciated, and he's our Nick Fury in the MCU. The espionage vibe added into the Marvel universe was also appreciated, and this series raises some tough questions about identity and loyalty. However, it's not all rosy here. The series definitely suffered from some inconsistent pacing and a disappointing payoff. For number 14, I'm bringing out Silent Hill, the 2006 movie. This is horror and dark fantasy and is based off a video game series. A mother searches for her missing daughter in the eerie, fog covered town of Silent Hill. Reality itself bends as she confronts horrors. This was a disturbing and quite faithful adaptation of a very popular game. The surreal atmosphere and visuals are fantastic, and the memorable monster design brings it. I mean, Pyramid Head? However, a lot of people didn't like it because of its confusing narrative if you hadn't played the game. Now, I hadn't played the game, I still enjoyed the movie, but that made it not work for some. Number 13, a sequel film. I'm bringing you Smile 2, 2024 flick. Psychological horror and a little supernatural. The cursed entity from the original movie, Smile, returns, spreading terror through a new victim plagued by unsettling smiles. The cycle of trauma continues. This movie gave us more creepy, unsettling imagery. It really followed well in the vein of the first film. It builds dread more than jump scares, although there are moments. It's a worthy follow up to the original, which was a big hit, and this didn't do so bad either. Why it's disliked is, well, it leaned perhaps a little too much into the popularity of the first film. The beats of this one are rather repetitive. Still, I enjoyed it. Number 13. Number 12 is Apocalypse Z, The Beginning of the End, 2024 zombie horror movie. A deadly virus unleashes a zombie outbreak across Spain. One man documents his survival and growing desperation. I have to admit, this one sits a little higher on my list than it might for some people doing a similar list because I read the book this is based on years ago and was thrilled to see it come out as an adaptation. This brings us a fresh international perspective on zombies. It's got gritty survival storytelling, and the pace, the tension, it's relentless. It's really faithful to the tone of the book. However, it didn't have nearly the money that The Mummy had thrown at it. A little bit low budget on the execution of this film. But the story pretty much carries it, anyways. Number 11. Also, zombie apocalypse, but a very different feel. This is Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse from 2015, a horror comedy. A group of Boy Scouts must use their skills to survive a zombie outbreak in their town. Hilarious hijinks meet gory undead action. The best qualities of this film are the creative use of scout skills as weapons, the gory fun balanced with laughs, and surprisingly heartfelt friendships. But it has its critics. I mean, the humor is definitely juvenile. That's what they were going for with the film. And the tone is a little uneven at times. Honestly, they made the film they wanted to make, and some people hate this style. For me, I thought it was funny as all get out. Number 10, The Tomorrow War, 2021 film. This is sci-fi action movie. Time travelers recruit soldiers from the present to fight a future alien invasion. A family man must rise to the challenge. This movie gives us a very high concept time travel twist. It's got intense alien battle sequences, and the emotional core about family gives some real heart to the film. Overall, great production value. Thought this was a really fun movie, but it's disliked by some, feeling it's derivative of other products and overly long. I didn't get any of that, but I'm referencing what some people think. Still, it's a solid 10 on my pick. For number 9, Longlegs, the 2024 horror thriller. A detective investigates a series of cryptic murders linked to a mysterious figure named Longlegs. Reality and sanity blur. Okay, originally this was going to be much further down my list, but as I reflected on it, I had to give this film some props. It's hauntingly atmospheric. Nicolas Cage performs a chilling role. You do not like Nicolas Cage, but you gotta love his performance in this movie. And this film builds terror with psychological precision. So well written. But the critics, they come out saying the pacing is slow, and yeah, that's not untrue. And the storytelling they thought was opaque. Yeah, I don't get that. I saw that word out there in a review, and I'm like, huh? It's still number 9 for me. Number 8 is a movie that I'm putting up this high despite my preferences. I just can't help myself. This movie was good. Wicked, 2024. A fantasy musical, the untold story of the Wicked Witch of the West and Glinda the Good, showing their friendship and fallout. A prequel to The Wizard of Oz. This movie is based on a smash Broadway success, and it brings those songs to the screen really well. Gorgeous production design on this fantasy flick, and it's a heartfelt twist on a familiar story. I read the book it's based on many years ago, didn't care for it, but I did go see the musical, and I enjoyed that. Now on the screen, better than ever. However, the musical style is not for everyone, and that's why some people don't like this movie, but they're just wrong. This is surprisingly good. Number 7, back to something a little more up my alley, Battle Royale, 2000 film, oldest one on my list here. This is dystopian horror and an action film. A class of students is forced by the government into a brutal fight to the death survival game. Friendships and betrayals erupt. Now, this is a Japanese film, and you either watch it subtitled or dubbed. I don't usually go for films like that, but this one was, well, it was well worth the effort. It's so good. Shocking intensity. As you're watching the film, you can't help but recognize how much influence this had on the Hunger Games. I'm pretty sure Suzanne Collins must have seen this, or knew about it before writing her books because it's practically a ripoff. It makes the Hunger Games feel derivative. And it has thought provoking social commentary embedded in really well. The reason some people dislike it is it does not hold back from the violence. Oh my goodness, shockingly so. But I'm not squeamish. This is a great film. If you're squeamish, stay away. If The Hunger Games was a little too shocking, don't even think about this movie. Number 6, Diary of the Dead from 2007. This is zombie horror. A group of students document the zombie apocalypse through their camera. Found footage meets Romero's classic undead style. So this is George A. Romero's zombie apocalypse style, and it's in his universe. The best qualities of this film is it's giving us the shaky cam, but in a unique filming approach. It's not all shaky cam. It's a blend and really well done. It's also giving us a social media tech commentary through the way they do the film, and the claustrophobic zombie tension is intense. Some don't like it because a low production polish they feel, but that was by design. That's the way the movie was intended to be. If you don't like it, you're being too snobbish, maybe, if that's your reason, because it worked. That they accomplished exactly what they meant, and I enjoyed the film. Number 5 is something I enjoyed even more: Stan Against Evil, Season 1. There's actually 3 seasons of this TV show. The first season came out in 2016, and that's the only one I've seen so far. This is a horror comedy series, and each episode is pretty short. A grumpy ex-sheriff teams up with his replacement to battle supernatural forces plaguing their small town. Think Ash versus Evil Dead with small town sass. John C. McGinley plays one of the lead roles, and his hilarious crankiness practically carries the whole show. It's got a fun Monster of the Week format while telling a greater story, laying it out over the series. And it does a really expert job of balancing horror with comedy gold. It never gets too scary, and yet it does bring about the kind of things you're looking for in horror, but the humor is strong. Why is it disliked by some? Well, some feel the effects are a little rough and the humor a bit niche. But again, I'm not going to be snobbish. I'm just going to enjoy it. And the rough special effects are also kind of by design leading into the horror campiness of it. We don't want to scare you too much. We just want you to have a good time. Number 4 wants to scare you and not let you have a good time. Contagion, the 2011 sci-fi thriller, which we look at a little differently these days. A deadly pandemic spreads globally, sparking panic, loss, and the desperate search for a cure. Again, now that we've been through COVID and I'm watching this movie for the first time, it was showing me a chillingly realistic portrayal of how things can play out. So the best qualities are the unnervingly authentic storytelling, the stellar ensemble cast. When you see all the big stars in this movie, you're like, wow. And most of them were already big back in 2011. And it does hit kind of hard, us having gone through a pandemic. Some don't like it because it's too close to reality. They want entertainment, and this just triggers them. And I guess I could understand that. It also doesn't try to lean into entertainment. It has a real clinical tone to it that turns some people off. Number 3, The Invisible Man from 2020. Psychological horror sci-fi film. The only thing this has to do with the book that it's based on is giving the initial idea that somebody figures out a way to be invisible. Otherwise, this is a totally different film. A woman believes her abusive ex has faked his death and is stalking her with new technology. But who will believe her? The best qualities of this film include its claustrophobic tension, Elizabeth Moss's powerhouse performance as the lead actress, and it being a modern, relevant reinvention of a classic, both the book and the movie. But it's disliked by some because of its heavy focus on trauma, which for some can be very uncomfortable, especially if you have had any trauma similar to what you see. Number two, John Wick, 2014. I finally got around to watching John Wick. This action thriller is about a retired hitman who seeks revenge after gangsters kill his beloved dog. Don't mess with the dog, people. The underworld trembles as he unleashes mayhem. Best qualities: it's crisp, groundbreaking action choreography. I mean, this is Keanu Reeves in the lead role, and we're seeing him at his best. And the surprisingly emotional foundation to the movie that really lent it, again, some gravitas. It's disliked by some because the thin plot is mostly just there to give you another action movie and a reason for Keanu Reeves to go off shooting lots and lots of people and damaging them in other ways. It's mostly style over story, but it's a thoroughly enjoyable ride. So much so that my number one is John Wick Chapter 2, the sequel that came out in 2017. Yes, I watched these movies back to back. This is another action thriller where John is pulled back into the assassin underworld with deadly consequences. The sequel doubles the action and expands the lore. It picks up right where the first movie left off. And yet, it's bigger, bolder. The action set pieces are mind blowing. It expands the fascinating world building of the first film, and it elevates the franchise to modern legendary status. But it's disliked by some because of its excessive violence without deep character growth. But if you're here for this movie, you don't care about the character growing. You just want to see these action sequences, which are off the chart. Okay, disclaimer. After I prepped this episode, but before I could get around to recording it, I did watch John Wick 3 and John Wick 4, and they're all brilliant. So that's my list. 20 films and shows I've watched, enjoyed, and ranked, from quirky fun to all out awesome. What do you think? Have you seen them all? Which ones do you agree with me on? And which ones would you put higher or lower? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop them down in the comments. I still do respond to every comment I see. Also, don't forget to connect with my son Zach and I through our Discord server or social media. Links are available down in the show notes. Thanks again for watching. And as always, we'll talk to you next time.